Hey there, Jake from Gravity PDF here. Today we're going to look at how to set up GFchart so you can then include those charts in the PDF reports created by Gravity PDF Reports for GFchart add-on. Now before you get started, the first thing you need is to set up your Gravity form. It's important you set it up correctly and ask the right questions with the right field types so they can be used in GFchart. Gravity form supports a lot of different field types with various complexities of how the data is saved. And GFchart doesn't support every single use case there. So first you want to check the GF forms documentation and see what setups are ruled out. And then have a think about what questions you're actually going to ask the user and how you want to graph them, or chart them. GFchart recommend using closed-ended questions, so questions with specific options available, and that's the field types for those will be a drop-down or a checkbox or a radio button. You can also use a survey like it field, the single row type. Currently the multi-row type is not compatible with GFchart, but if you wanted to ask multiple questions with a like it, you can just duplicate the single row one, and that'll give you similar results. So we've got a few questions here. The survey like it, we've got a product field and a total. Number fields are also great to do some number crunching in GFchart. And then we've got two drop downs for demographic information. So we've got age range here and what drink would you like? Once you've got your form created, you want to put through some test entries. So we're going to strongly agree with that Gravity PDF and GFchart is powerful. Age range and T, and we'll submit that. And then we'll go over to the Forms main menu, and we're going to go down to the chart/calculation page, and this is where you can set up your GFcharts. So we'll add a new chart, and every chart is linked to a gravity form. So this one's going to be our advanced survey form, and we're first going to chart the drink. So GFchart give you 4 different charting/calculation options. The calculation and progress bar are linked. So to use a progress bar, you first need to create a calculation, and that's where you can make use of the number fields or product fields in Gravity Forms. So first we'll look at a pie chart. You've got a few different styles here, and then you can include a legend. We'll just go with the default and none for now, and we'll go to the Select Data tab. So the field is what you're going to do the number crunching on. We'll look at what drink would you like. You've also got a few other options here. You can filter by. If you've got a payment gateway added, you can look at just the entries that are paid successfully, or any of the other payment statuses. Date range. So you could use a fixed date. Or the much more powerful and useful relative date. So I could look at filtering by last month's data if I wanted, with the relative date feature. And GFchart have a heap of documentation on what is a valid relative date and how you can use that. And then I could add some additional filters here, which is exactly like Gravity Forms conditional logic functionality, so I can add a number of different conditions, and it's only going to pull down entries that match those filters. But for now, we'll just go with the standard field and no additional filters. Under Customizer, we can give the chart a name. So we'll call this Drinks chart. And we're going to adjust the height and the width. So in the PDF report, if we're displaying the chart side by side, which is going to be the 3 or 4 column, 3 or 4 chart report, we'll want to use 600 pixels wide by 400 pixels high. And then we'll go over to preview. Okay, so we've got drinks. We've got some percentages here. We hover over, we can see the type. Now you won't get this hover effect in the PDF report because it's an image. So we're going to want to add the labels in under design here. So legend instead of none, we might include it as labeled, and then we can go back to preview. And now our chart has the appropriate labels for each segment, so it's easy to see what the percentage is for each option. Now back in the customizer, if we were displaying this chart in the report as a single chart report or a 2 chart report, the 700 pixel wide by 450 pixels is the ideal width and height for that. Excellent. Now we'll go back to design here and we'll try a donut type. We'll go back to preview. This is the donut variant of the design. We also got a 3D one. The great thing about GFChart here is you can fiddle around with the settings and then get a live preview straight away. And as you click through the tabs to configure the chart, GFChart will auto-save your settings as you go, so you don't need to waste time making changes and then manually hitting save and then going to the preview, and that's just another way you can speed up and save time. Let's go and add a bar chart now. We'll look at the drinks for this one, and we'll go to advanced survey form, and we'll create our chart. So select the bar type, and we've got 2 variants, vertical or horizontal, and the same as before with the legend. So we might put bottom for this one. We'll go select our data. So you can see this setup's a little bit different than the pie. There's a few additional options here. So for the x-axis, our main field, we might start with what drink would you like again. Actually, no, sorry, we'll do the age range here. And then you can determine if you're going to count or do a sum of all the entries for the age range. In this particular type, we'll do count, and we'll leave all the rest of the defaults here. So we can give it a title again. We'll call this age demographic, and then we'll set the ideal width and height, and go and preview that chart. Okay. So we've got our nice bar graph here with all our options and showing the total. We can also choose to display that in a horizontal layout. You don't have to actually click the tabs at the top here. You can jump through each section down the bottom. It'll save as you go again. So this is the the horizontal layout chart. So you've got both options there. And going back to data, we can actually query 2 data sets for a bar. We can click this plus and we can segment the data. So if we want to look at the drinks by age range, I'm going to select the drinks in the x-axis, the main field, and for our segment, I will select age range. And you got 3 options here beside stacked or percentage. So we'll go have a look at all 3 of those. So this is the horizontal chart with the segments. So we can see coffee, none, and tea here, and each of the demographics side by side. We can also do stack absolute, which is nice. It gives you the 3 options, and then you can see the demographics in the total representation here, which gives you really nice insight and a quick snapshot of who's doing what. And this is where the legend will be useful, so you know what each of the types are. So you can see this has the 1, 2 that you click left and right. Again, because this gets converted to an image, you want to make sure that everything is displayed by default. So the bottom's not going to be a good option. We might try left and see if that'll display all the segments. Didn't do it on the left. Let's try right. There we go. Okay. So that's going to be great. It's got all the options there with the color scheme displayed in the chart without any without being hidden at all. And we've got our nice segments now. We go back to select data. We could say stack percentage. This is going to display everything out of 100%. I feel this type for this data set's a bit deceptive because you think everyone's ordered coffee, none, and tea the exact same figure because it's all out of 100. You don't get that the actual representation that you do with the stack absolute. So I'm going to stick with this type here. We can also change the order from ascending to descending, and that's going to show tea first and coffee last instead of coffee first and tea last. Show 0 values. So if we had another option there like a soft drink, and nobody had selected soft drink, if we tick this option, it's going to show a 4th segment here called soft drink, and that'll have 0 there, or no bar measurement, but it will be included in the graph. You can also set a date range here. You could use a fixed date or a relative date, like first day of last month, and that's going to give us entries from the last month only, or I could do 1 week, and that'll give us entries from the last week. And again, you can go on the GFChart website. Their documentation has examples of the different types of relative date filtering that are supported. So the last 2 types are the calculation and the progress bar chart. So we'll start with calculation, since you'll need a calculation to generate the progress bar. We'll select our survey again. So I mentioned before, calculations are good with number fields or product fields. There's no design settings here. So we're going to select the total field, and then you've got a few different calculation types. So if you just did count, that's going to count the number of entries that have a total. Sum is the one we're interested in. That's going to sum up the total in each submitted entry. You can also do an average or just count the unique entries. Unique total in each entry. So we'll select sum. You've also got the additional filters here. Under Customizer, you can set the number format and whether we want to round or not. So we'll go currency and hit preview. And that's going to give us this nice number which is the sum of the total of all entries. And again, we could filter that by the last 7 days if we wanted relative date filter. And that'll give us the last 7 days total. So we'll save that, and then we'll go and add a progress bar. Let's find the form, advanced survey. There it is. And we'll go and select our progress bar. Like the calculation, no design settings here. We select our data. This is going to list all the calculation GFchart types available. We've only got one set up, so we hit calculation. We'll give it a goal of 30,000. Under customizer, you got the currency type that you want to, or sorry, the number format type you use. We'll select currency for this and we'll hit preview. Then we've got this progress bar. So we've reached 65% of our $30,000 target.